Hi, I'm Johnnie Bergmann. We are at the Bergmann factory located in Hobro in the center of Denmark. Today I will show you step by step how we built our turntables. Bergmann Audio was established back in 2008 and our focus is analog air-bearing technology. So that means air-bearing turntables and linear tracking air-bearing tonearms. The air-bearing technology has been known for many years, but it has some technical drawbacks back in the beginning. And our goal from the beginning was to make air-bearing technology for almost anyone, making it user-friendly. So from the beginning, we started to complete it to perfection. That was our goal, and I think we reached the goal quite well. In Bergmann Audio, we basically do all parts in-house ourselves. The next part we'll do in the CNC milling machine is the base plate of an Airbearing Tonearm. It starts just like a raw plate and end up like a base plate. To make a base plate like this, it requires 3 different programs and 3 different setups. And as you can see on the screen, we have a simulator on the CNC machine. So you can see step by step what happens. It's simply the bottom side of the base plate being machined. Next step, program number 2. We turn it and tighten it onto a special tool. Then we do the shape of the base plate. And last program, we are doing the slots. So a part like this requires 3 different setups on the machine. Another part we have here is a foot part of a Galder signature table made of stainless steel. A part like this, first step when we machine it, is done in the turning machine, making it round, making the thread and turning the inside. And then next step, we put it in the CNC milling machine to make the small threaded holes and the holes for the ceramic balls. This is a Galder plinth, which is machined of 1 solid piece of aluminum. So a lot of milling work is going into the plinth. And the material is a die-cast aluminum of high standard quality aluminum. This is the air bearing from a Galder table, and especially the air bearing at what takes our turntables apart from traditional designs. The platter simply floats on air, which will reduce the rumble in the table a lot. In a traditional table, the platter is centered by a spindle like here, but the weight of the platter is supported by a small ceramic ball or so, and the platter's weight is making an enormous pressure on this on the ceramic ball or ruby ball or whatever they normally use. And when the platter turns with its weight on this, it makes some noise, low-frequent noise called rumble. In the Airbearing turntable, this rumble does not exist because the platter is supported by air, so no rumble. To keep the platter floating, it requires, of course, an air supply, which I will explain about later. But the air that raises the platter comes out of the tiny hole on the air bearing. To keep the platter centered, we have made a combination of a spindle, hard anodized aluminum, which is hard and frictionless as ceramic material. The opposite part is a bearing insert in the bottom of the platter. It's a polymer material, which is very frictionless. Lifespan of the bearing material is 4 to 5 times longer than a traditional metal bearing. And the material itself is anti-vibrating material. So a really good combination for a spindle. An Airbearing turntable will never work without the right air supply. You can't move it without the air. Then we add the air to the air input, then it floats. Another feature of our top model Galder is vacuum hold down. So that means the record is completely flattened and have a really good contact to the platter and the mat. And the platter won't slide on a slippery mat. It will be grabbed and flattened completely. So any resonances that can happen between the record and the record mat is completely eliminated. Having a table where you combine air bearing means air pressure to lift the platter and vacuum hold down to flatten the record. It means that you have air going 2 ways, and you must separate and keep pressure and vacuum separated. And it's done by a small flexible rubber V-ring on top of the bearing spindle. This is a cutout of the platter that shows the bearing insert, the polymer bearing insert, and on top of this there is a small disc, a Delrin disc. Delrin is a material which acts very much like Teflon, so that means it's very frictionless and hard wearing material. So when the platter is mounted, this Delrin disc and the small flexible rubber V-ring, they just exactly touch each other so as you can keep the vacuum in through the spindle and the hole in the air bearing next to it, and keep them separated that way. So this small V-ring and the Delrin disc is very important parts. The tonearm, the linear tracking Airbearing Tonearm, is also floating on air. The friction in air is extremely low and is lower than any mechanical working bearings. So the tonearm, when tracking the record, it's moved all the way across the record only by the needle from on the cartridge and the record groove. And to demonstrate, I have a sliding pipe, which is what we actually have here, and an air pipe where I have added some air. So this is basically what you have, and show how it works. Putting the floating part onto the air pipe. You add air and have a lots of tiny air holes where the air comes up and makes the floating pipe floating. And this shows how frictionless it actually is. So that's the principle behind a linear tracking Airbearing Tonearm. The advantage of linear tracking tonearm is that a record, the way it's pressed, is also in a linear movement. So that's the right way to track the record, especially in the inner grooves at the end of the record. That's where you have the advantage, and here the advantage. Especially records in the crescendos and powerful passages in the inner grooves, it can normally be distorted sound. With a linear tracking, it tracks perfectly without distortion from beginning to the end. And setting up a linear tracking tonearm is actually the most straight ahead and easiest tonearm to set up. It's all about straight lines and 90-degree angles. First, the air pipe, level it so it's completely in level. The arm tube, make it in level when the cartridge is in the groove, making sure that the air pipe is completely parallel to the tracking line, and then move the tonearm forth or back so as the stylus tip of the cartridge is exactly in the center of the groove all the time, and make sure that the cartridge is in a perfect 90-degree angle of the tracking line. And that's basically it. This is an air supply, which is an essential part for an Airbearing turntable. Back many years ago, it was very normal, and even still today, that some designers of Airbearing technology, they use a compressor, which is not a good idea. A compressor is, when it's running, it turns hot, it requires oil, and both oil and moisture will over time get squeezed from the air pump, from the compressor, through the air hoses. At the end, it will go into the turntable, and it doesn't work anymore. We use oil-free air pumps, which, as the words say, it doesn't need any oil. It doesn't get hot, so don't make any moisture or condense to enter the turntable. So it's just running frequently without any of these issues. So we decided to make what we call an air supply. We built up from scratch. Inside the housing, there is the pump unit, and it takes air in to make an air pressure, of course. So the air intake, it goes through a filter to take small dust particles, and so then it goes in to the complete unit. The air intake also it can make a little noise. So it goes through this tank, which is an air silencer to reduce noise from the air pump. And then the air goes out, and to even the pulsation that a membrane pump will produce, it also consists of two air tanks which have some absorbing material inside, which will even the pulsation, so the air that comes out in the end is stable and dry and free of any dust or so. So clean, dry, smooth airflow comes out at the end. It also have some electronic which is communicate with the electronic in the table, which means that you control the pump switches on and off from the plinth, so you can hide the pump away. I don't need to switch it on and off. When you press either 33 or 45 RPM on the table, the air supply will start. When you stop, and when you do the second press, then the platter will start to spin. When you stop the platter again, 2 minutes later, the pump switch off automatically. And the air supply we see here is the small air supply that comes with our entry-level turntable model Modi. It consists only of one air pump to produce air pressure. What we see on the table here is the big air pump air supply for the Galder table. That's all the parts that actually goes into the air supply. Everything ready to be assembled. And this design is basically a double up from the small air supply we just saw before. It's the same. You have the housing for the air pump unit and the air tanks for to take the pulsation away, and silencer for air intake and so. But everything is doubled up, so you have one side for the air pressure, and you have another side for vacuum hold down for the vacuum pump. And this is the air pump that we use, the oil-free air pump, both for air pressure and for vacuum, which is a high quality air pump. So actually, many parts go into something as simple as an air supply, just to feed the table with air. Hi, I'm Johnnie Bergmann, founder of Bergmann Audio, a company specialized in analog technology, air-bearing analog technology. Company was founded back in 2008, started on a passion of analog technology. And it all started in my childhood. I had a good friend, Peter. His father was an audiophile, and I was extremely fascinated with his father's system, and especially his turntable. And even at a kid, I was able to hear difference from his audio system and my parents' stereo system. So the passion for audio and good sound was started as a kid. Then I went through school, finished school, started education as a mechanical engineer, and the interest and passion for audio and fine mechanics combined with the education of mechanical engineer, it was a really good marriage. So that means I could do my own turntable, and the turntable actually turned out really nice, really good sounding. And then we was wondering if we could make a brand name and go on the market selling turntables. And we did. And after a few months, I had to quit my job and go full time to do turntables and tonearms. The goal from the beginning was the analog, the Airbearing technology, which was known for some drawbacks. It has to be eliminated and perfected completely. So we started to develop and proceed step by step to fine-tune and make every single part more and more user-friendly. Air supplies, for example, normally is used compressor for some other brands, which has some drawbacks like oil in a compressor, for example, oil and moisture and so entering the system. So that was one of the big drawbacks. So I decided to make the perfect air supply for this. So today we are making an oil-free, silent running air supply which deliver clean, dry and smooth airflow. Also the table, platter, tonearm and so has become really user-friendly compared to what was known from back from the 80s and 90s. So that's what we're specialized about today, and I think we reach our goal by making it extremely user-friendly. Our most popular model today is the Galder, mounted with the Odin tonearm. Compared to the historical product we made, Galder is a more flexible turntable. The first three models we made, Sindre, Sleipner and Magne, was complete systems that was tables that came with a mounted tone arm, and the table only accepted this tone arm, so it was a fully system, and that's it. With the Galder, we decided to make it more flexible. So the Galder is the deck, and then you can mount the tone arm you like. Any kind of tone arm, radial tone arm, linear tracking tone arm of almost any brand. And on the Galder, you can mount up to 4 tone arms on the same deck. Galder is, I think, so far our most popular turntable. It's available with and without vacuum hold down. And after some years on the market, we were asked to make a signature version of the Galder, replacing some of the aluminum parts by stainless steel parts. So for example, the platter on the classic Galder is about 12 kilo. On the signature version, it's a 36 kilo stainless steel platter. Feet are made of stainless steel instead of aluminum. Arm boards that holds the Odin tone arm makes a better and stronger connection between the deck and the tone arm. So it makes a stiffer construction overall. And the sound difference is definitely a step up on the signature. We made the Galder Classic back in 2016. And I think in 22 we made the signature version. During the COVID lockdown, we decided to make a smaller version of the Galder. So then we made the Modi table, and also made a tone arm for the Modi called Tor. And Tor tone arm is a smaller version of the Odin tone arm. With the Modi and the Tor tone arm, you have the most important basics of the Airbearing technology in this machine. So that means a platter that floats on air and a linear tracking Airbearing tone arm. Moving up to the Galder from the Modi is more powerful, bigger, more stable sounding. But the Modi is it's an entry-level table. It sounds really, really amazing.
En gang hade en älskereberg, sa en äldre dame högt vid nabobordet. Han hade stämme som en gammal fiolin, och han snackade med en herregud. Det heter visst att falla för en man. retning himmel fløy, og jeg fløy høyt. Det var ikke noe fornuftig det vi gjorde. Men bytte du forelskelse med høg og tørr forstand? Ikke jeg, ikke han, ikke jeg, og ikke han. Og vi visste at vi måtte langt av sted, at vi måtte reise dit hvor ingen fant oss. Og vi fant et seil som ville ta oss med. Det fylte seg med mektig fralandsvind. Vi satsa det vi eide for et nu, en retning for en ryss